So I've come around full circle back to the A500 and this keyboard that we looked at in a previous video where I made a little DIN adapter to see if it would work on the A500, which it seemed to do. This keyboard is absolutely filthy inside, and so I'm going to strip it here to clean it. I'm really not looking forward to this. There it is. So sometimes the white plastic insert comes off, sometimes it doesn't. I'm playing with these keys. In this case, the little plastic insert did come off. As you can see, it's just absolutely filthy down in there, and I'm debating whether to just strip it and remove all the little white plastic inserts as well. It's just so bloody nasty inside. See how hard it is to get these to release. Don't want to break any. So it will pry up out of there. I need something to put the little springs in, or I will lose them pretty quickly. Where's the little container I just had a second ago? It's amazing how you set stuff down on the bench and it just vanishes. And of course, oh man, just the garbage already falling out of this keyboard, just the dirt and of course these do come out of the keycaps. At least I've been able to remove one before. Now, let's just keep working our way around here and see where we end up. Oh, look how just filthy that is down in there. Probably need to look at what it's going to take to release the space bar here. The little nylon inserts there will come out or not. I don't know that the little metal bar underneath is going to move enough to allow me to release that without breaking something. Oh, I don't like that at all. Get a hold of the little spring before it flies off. And the spring definitely looks different from the space bar. Let's see if I can now get enough. Oh, just right at the hairy edge, there it is. Man, it's just filthy inside. Like I said, really not looking forward to this, just because it is so filthy. I mean, I can feel the grime on my hands. I don't know what kind of environment this was in. But it could have been pleasant for anybody. Oops. That one feels rather funny. I don't want to force it. Come back when I can see a little closer around it. Oh. Looks like the space bars do have a little metal bar underneath them because of the length. Oh my God, it's just so nasty. Let's get the V key, try again, and that time it came right off. Got to be careful around the metal fingers here that I don't get up underneath, you know, bend one of them. Shoot. I really didn't see where, they're just right in there. I don't see any place in here it clips in. See, it doesn't work really well. And I need to be careful here not to get up under that contact there and stress that. That won't pop loose very easily. Yep, key puller. And I feel like I'm outside gardening. It's just the grime, the feel of dust and dirt on my fingers is just extremely unpleasant. Anyhow, I'm not going to bore you with me pulling the rest of these off. I'll keep working here and come back when it's been stripped down. So as you can see, I've got all the keycaps off, but a number of these nylon inserts have stayed in place. And the easiest way I found to remove these is to kind of get in here. Yeah, this was working really well till I turned the camera on and kind of release the little latch on one side. Now let's try a different one. That one's just being stubborn. And then while I'm kind of holding it up, get in here and just release the latch on the other, and they pop up out. I've decided to remove all these because I want to get all the dust and everything that's down inside of the holes here out as well. Part of doing this is being careful to, sorry, I'm focused here at the moment on getting this side to release. There it goes. Is being careful not to catch the screwdriver or my fingers or whatever on these contacts on the other keys. I don't want to bend those. That wouldn't be good. Because getting those bent back into operational shape would be difficult. Wow. I actually had quite a rhythm going down here, and I got up to start the camera and I lost the rhythm. These have all been identical, except you see the one purple one over there. And that purple one's got a cutout in it for the LED, for the caps lock. And I'm assuming it's a different color because of the, well, this one just really doesn't want to release. Hello. There it goes. And then like that. I actually haven't lost a spring yet, which is kind of amazing. of course said that, I'll lose a spring immediately, but you can hear me, perhaps you can hear me touching some of the metal contacts. I'm hoping I haven't dropped a spring accidentally down in the box here of keycaps. Again, trying to keep my fingers from touching stuff I don't want to be touching. This is just a very small flat screwdriver. It just works well to kind of dig in there and just push that little latch in a bit and release it. I think I'm going to turn this around to kind of minimize having my hands over all of the other contacts there. See if I can get him to release. Again, all of this is kind of thinking about what you're doing as you do it. Trying to do everything in as safe a manner as possible. Almost done here. Ooh. Didn't like that. Screwdriver slid down on through. This purple one is manufactured different, and I'm not exactly sure. Doesn't seem to have the same kind of detent or little sort of catches as the white ones do. Need to look at it a bit closer. Well, you're really being stubborn. There you came. Get this side to release. I don't really see how that one's held in. I don't want to go breaking it. No. I think in this case I'm going to leave the purple one on. I'll give you a quick tour here of what we found underneath all those keycaps. And of course some of this has come off so I've cleaned, so this is going to take a bit of work to clean this all up, get this all brushed and wiped out of there. I believe I've got all the springs captured. I don't think I dropped any springs down into here, although it's possible. As you can see, the keycaps, like this A key, the sides of the cap are just filthy. It's just grubby, nasty. These will get a good wash. Some hot soapy water and a toothbrush will be taken to them. For the ones where the nylon kind of clip here stayed in place, I'm just going to leave it in. I'm not going to try to remove it. That'll make actually getting these well dried a little bit more difficult, but such is life. Yeah, it doesn't look like I can remove the steel plate. The switch bodies have a lip that snap down into the steel plate, and then the PCB is glued on the back. So in order to tear this down further, it would require me to unsolder all of those, which I'm not going to do. But there's some progress. Oh, look at that. Just dropping off of there. That just doesn't please me at all. Ugh. Nasty. Nasty, nasty. one note here as soon as I get these back in the little container. It's the spring for the space bar is over here separate, and it looks like to me it's just sprung a little harder. I don't think it's different. It just seems like it's a little longer. If I take one of the springs that come out, you can see that it's it's a 1/8 of an inch, maybe a little bit more longer. It's been sprung a little bit more since there's so much mass on that space bar. The rest of them all seem to be about the same length, so I'm just keeping that one separate. These little metal clips don't come off, so I'm not going to worry about removing them. Not really clips. I think they're just to keep the keycap moving up and down cleanly. The space bar, I don't really know what this is called, where if you push on one side of the space bar it pulls the other side down. That's permanently in there, so I won't be trying to remove that. I'm debating what to do with the contacts in these. I may use a little contact cleaner and get down between each one and just wipe it out. Most of them are shiny, some of them are kind of dull, so it's kind of hard to say how dirty any of them really are. But with that, I think I'll set this aside and do some cleaning. So as you can see, I'm pretty much down to the home stretch here. I've learned a few things going along here. Many of the keycaps, and they removed, the little nylon insert came with them. With others, the nylon insert was left on the board. I wonder why that's got a yellow dot on it. That yellow dot was under the space bar, so I just removed this one from the space bar. I'm going to go ahead and swap this out. So for the ones, hopefully I can get this in camera here, that came out attached to the keycap, it turns out just a little bit of gentle pressure on either side, and the little nylon insert will just snap right out. And I've discovered it's best to put these back together with the little nylon insert loose, because that way you can see down through the hole in it to see the contacts and make sure the contacts slide correctly up through the little piece of nylon in the middle that separates them. So let me finish popping these all loose. Some of these are still a little bit wet. So for the guys here that stayed on the board, I may have shown you this before. You can get in here and kind of release the latch on one side, release the latch on the other, and they just lift up out. So for this one, this yellow dot, this was in the space bar a minute ago, this yellow dot. So again, I don't know if this will focus down through, but there's this slot here that you can look down through, and there's a bar across it, and that bar across is what slides down between the contacts. And when you press, it slides down between the contacts, and when you press the switch down, it allows those contacts to come together. So to put these back on, there's a couple things to keep in mind. There's a little notch, or there's a little pin down inside of the circular part here that goes into the hole on the spring. For the majority of these, they've gone on just fine. I had two where the spring got offset and it caused the key not to go all the way down. I also had one where a little piece of rock or something had fallen down in there, and when I tried to press the key, it jammed it in there, and it took quite a bit of digging to dig that out. But really, to put these on, it's get it over the spring, get it centered up, and I can peek down through and I can see that the metal contacts went out and around that little bar in the middle. So I know this isn't going to show up on camera well. Let me get a spring. My screwdriver is magnetized. It makes picking the springs up a little bit easier. Kind of get it centered on there, down into place. take a look, and I could see it dividing the little contacts apart correctly as I pressed it down on. This has been incredibly fiddly, as you can imagine. Really, it's just a matter of working through like this, getting everything centered up, making sure it's sliding down between the two little, well, there's one where I think the spring didn't center correctly. Something kept it from going down. I'm not sure. Well, I'll try this one. Why do I appear to be short one? I just counted a second ago, and they were all here. That's confusing. Oh, dropped it down in with the keycaps. I can see that divided those correctly. And there's one sitting here in the box keycaps. As I said a second ago, this is really pretty fiddly. And I believe we've got them all back on. I've tested them all, they all depress. I did that as I was putting it together. The spacebar spring was a little longer, about an eighth to a quarter inch longer than the others, and it's got a little bit more tension on it. I can feel the tension here. And really, at this point, I believe the escape is up here. Look at my reference keyboard. It really should just be there, keycap on. So really now it's just a matter of me going through and putting all the keycaps on. I am going to do the spacebar next. And I believe the spacebar goes on this way. So this is going to be a little bit fiddly. And that the spacebar needs to be engaged on this crossbar without breaking anything. And I believe I can just flex the bar here out of the way and through the hole. Did I get the space bar the wrong way around? I may have flipped it the wrong way around. Come on. There's one of the Amiga keys. This is the clear one that would go right here. So it should go that orientation. So I'm not sure why it would be, unless I had it flipped around the other way a second ago. Apologies, I know you can't see through the space bar to what I'm trying to do here. Why can't I get that to go through that hole? There it is. So, like I said, now it's just really a matter of getting keycaps back on. Of course, the return key has this long plastic post that pokes down through here. It should just go just like that. There are 2 space bars. They seem to be identical. Things are still a little bit wet. He doesn't seem to want to go right down on there straight. There he is. Zero insert is over here. Didn't snap down with a real satisfying snap, but Q should be right there. That should be X. F5. Well, you get the idea. These are all still slightly wet. Well, rather than bore you with watching me put these all back on, I will put the keycaps on. Now the keycaps are back on. It's vastly improved as to where it was. There's still rust and scratches and stuff in the black paint underneath, but the keycaps are reasonable. It doesn't feel all grimy to touch. But what I was actually noticing here is this. I was looking at the header here for the external connector, and I noticed that there's 2 extra pins that are unused there. And those 2 pins come over here to 2 resistors. And those resistors come down to where LEDs could be mounted. And I realized on the Amiga 500, I think the power and floppy indicator LEDs are mounted right here on the keyboard, which makes me realize this probably is an Amiga 500 keyboard. If it had the extra 2 pins there to bring the LED signals up, it might actually be a functional, we already know it'll plug in and work through the adapter cable I built. But this may be able to be connected directly to the Amiga, just through a jumper cable. There's a transistor here, Q1, that isn't mounted to the board, that may have to do with generating the reset signal. The restart signal. That key isn't feeling very healthy. I don't know why it's stuck down. That's better. So, this has got me intrigued. I think I will probably put a full width header on there. And see about making a cable to hook that directly up to the Amiga 500 without going through the the mess I created with the DIN stuff. It'd just be really nice just to have a cable that worked. See about stuffing those LEDs and see if I can find a schematic for the Amiga 500 keyboard, because if this will generate reset, then I really do have a good Amiga 500 keyboard here. And really I'm just down to needing a case to mount it all in. So that's pretty cool. Anyhow, you can see it's back together. It's cleaner. It feels okay. I'll need to, of course, power it up and test it. Quite the little adventure here. Anyhow, I'll wrap this up and we'll talk soon.